Good morning, one and all. Resilience is the quality we all have, the quality with which we bounce back from very difficult situations. I used to think that resilience was linked to being educated and expanding your mind, but due to recent events, I've come to challenge that opinion. Let me tell you the story of one of the most resilient persons I've ever come across. She was a simple worker who worked cleaning the homes of others for a nominal sum. She then used this sum to pay for her children's education and to support her family as she was the sole breadwinner. Her day-to-day life was already tough and exhausting, but she never gave up. All of this came crashing down one fateful day when she received a phone call informing her that her son had met with an accident due to his own reckless driving in India. Hearing this shook her to her very core, and she immediately left to an acquaintance's house in order to get some help and somehow visit her son back in India. So she left to India to see her son in a painfully bad shape. He was wrapped in bandages, had lost a lot of blood, and not to mention, he was almost completely paralyzed. She tried to take care of him as best as she could, but soon realized that as the sole breadwinner of her family, she didn't have the privilege of grieving over her son's fate. She still had to earn some money. So, with a heavy heart, she left her son hospitalized in India and returned to Abu Dhabi in order to return to her job. Her son soon slipped into a coma. As the months passed, his condition steadily got worse until, in a panic, she transferred him from a public hospital to a very expensive private hospital, hoping that they would be able to cure him faster. This drained out her savings in the process. In the middle of this terrible situation, her 14-year-old second son dropped out of his school in order to help take care of his older brother. 2 grueling years passed this way, her struggling to make ends meet, and her second son who wasn't attending his school. She would call her bedridden son almost every day, encouraging him even though he couldn't say a word back. This attitude that kept driving her forward through everything is true resilience. And then, after almost 2 years of fighting for his life, her son succumbed to his injuries and passed away in a hospital in India. In contrast to how she acted when she got that first phone call informing her about her son's accident, this time, when she got the news that her son was actually dead, her reaction couldn't be any more different. She was almost unreactive. Even though she had opportunities to leave and to go to India to see her son, and people around her were continuously advising her to take this chance, or else she would never see her son again, she still said in almost flat, emotionless voice, "No, I cannot go," as even if she did go, the patriarchal society back at her village wouldn't allow her to come back. So she took such a brave decision to not go to her own son's funeral. This is the most resilience I've ever seen in my entire life. The past few months had changed her, and even though she felt hopeless and helpless, and life kept throwing challenge after challenge at her, she knew she had to focus on that one goal of at least giving her second son a decent life. And now they are in a better place, all because of the incredible resilience she showed in such a trying time. She still went past it and thought only of the future. That, I feel, perfectly illustrates resilience. At the start, I said that I used to think that resilience was linked to being educated, but even though she was uneducated, she still exhibited such resilience that it changed the way I thought about resilience forever. And now I've realized that resilience is linked to not to being educated, but how much you've gone through in life and how adaptable your mind is, how much you've gone through, survived, and most importantly, thrived. Her story really stuck with me as a source of inspiration. Whenever something tries to knock me down, I simply remember her story, and whatever is bothering me feels solvable, manageable, like nothing compared to the pain she had to go through. Being a spectator in this crisis allowed me to understand that life is unpredictable, but only a resilient person can calmly ride the waves of fate. She showed me that day her individual resilience, so naturally I had to think of a larger picture, maybe in terms of a country. A good example of a resilient country would be Japan. Many Japanese people lost their loved ones in the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Not just loved ones, they lost their homes and sense of stability. But even though all seemed hopeless for them, they still banded together as a society, defying all odds, to regain what was lost and to rebuild their former glory. Not just that, even in the present, they are regularly attacked by natural disasters such as typhoons, tsunamis, and earthquakes. But still, they stand strong against adversity and are now one of the most technologically advanced countries in the entire world. How she showed her individual resilience that day, and how Japan showed resilience as a society. Both of these stories helped me understand that to bring about change and to solve the threats that life loves throwing at you, one must shift from a victimized mindset to an empowered one. Thank you.